la la.
So you may have noticed I've got sunglasses on. I look like a twat, actually. So not only did I get asked last minute to do a talk and share my story on mental health, I decided to do it with some Snapchat spectacles on. So you're all on film now, so say hello. Hello, yes. So I'm feeling a little bit anxious about doing this, even though I do actually do this quite a lot. And actually the sunglasses are helping a little bit because it's very bright. I was thinking before where to start my story on mental health. When I usually talk about mental health, I usually kind of pitch in my business, so I'm not going to do that tonight. So I think actually my story of mental health starts when I was born, really. I think that's when everyone's story of mental health starts. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I am a millennial. Basically means that I want everything now. I am addicted to my phone and I never wear socks. So I'm a massive millennial, and I've got the glasses on now, which are recording everything I do, so I never ever switch off. If I'm honest, I'm one of those guys that about 2 or 3 years ago, if you'd have tried to talk to me about mental health, I would have asked you if you wanted another beer, or did you watch the football the other night? Even though, actually, in my family, there's a little bit of history of mental health. There's my mum and dad, I know, have both been on antidepressants. Many of my family have been depressed, but kind of something that was always swept under the rug a little bit, really, and just never talked about, which is classic in sort of British society at the moment. And again, even up until a few years ago, I kind of thought mental health was, if I'm honest, like something that other people had. Or something you got when you get old and retire, or you got really stressed at work. Like I never thought it would happen to me. I used to even say things like I don't get stressed, and I almost used to pride myself actually on not showing much emotion. This phrase "toxic masculinity" is kind of getting thrown around now, and maybe that was me. I just thought that men don't do that. Men are we're supposed to be strong and we hunt and we bring back the food. And fast forward up to university, I actually ended up dropping out of university to start a business, tech business. Thought I was going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg and all that. I watched The Social Network a few times. And actually, when I started my own business, I got very good at suppressing emotion, because suppressing emotion when you're in business is a great thing to do. Because, I had investors, I had employees, I had people who relied on me. I thought, God, I can't tell them how I'm really feeling, when really I had no idea what I was doing and felt like lost and isolated and scared. But I got very good at just suppressing my emotion and not showing when I was angry or I was sad or I was lonely or I was upset. I would never show that because I thought I didn't want to seem weak. I had a really good technique for that, which was called the right back at you. If someone asked me how I was, how are you? Very quickly move it on to them and never really ever talk about myself. That was my defense mechanism. My other defense mechanism was to kind of create this image and this projection that I was absolutely smashing life 24/7. And to do that, I would use my phone and predominantly use social media. So I would put photos on Instagram of me having a great time and having a fantastic time on nights out, going traveling, photos in front of waterfalls and all that shit, just to show that I was doing great, I was fine, I was happy. When actually on the inside running this business, I was extremely scared. Scared of failure and scared of the fact that I had no idea what I was doing. But I was even more scared of anybody knowing that. So my defense was the sort of right back at you technique, and this guard and this presenting this image of being someone that I thought that I should be, of basically never ever opening up. Long story short, I basically ended up shutting that business down, and suddenly mental health sort of became a bit of a thing for me. I basically found myself, not really doing much for a start. I'd shut this business down. I was no longer this entrepreneur, the founder of this business. Basically my identity had been what felt like torn in half, If I looked at my life as a pie chart, 90% of it had been work for me. It had been being the founder of this company. That was who I was. And then when I took that away, there was really kind of nothing left. And I was left kind of searching for basically like, who am I? Like, what am I all about? And another one of my, I suppose, defense mechanisms over the years had been doing stuff. I just got really good at doing stuff, like filling my time with stuff. I think a lot of people are good at that, I would work very hard, I would go to the gym, I would fill my weekends with doing stuff. I'd just do all the time to stop myself ever having to sit there and think about what was going on in my own head. So suddenly I'm sitting at home in my parents' house. I've been working on this business for 3.5 years that doesn't exist anymore. And I'm sitting there and my life's gone from 110 miles an hour to 10 miles an hour. And my heart was pounding, beating through my chest. And when I look back, I know now that was anxiety, like real crippling anxiety of my body being like, and my mind being like, yeah, we're here. And you've been ignoring us for a long, long time. And I didn't know what to do about that. I remember my mum said to me, do you want to go to the doctor? Do you want to talk to the GP? Should we take you somewhere? No, I'm fine. And that feeling, I had that feeling from then on for about a year. Every single day, heart fluttering, heart dancing, sweaty palms, knot in my stomach, dry mouth, and just feeling off. Like, almost as if I could picture myself. As like I was having an out-of-body experience, I never felt there. When you're kind of in a group of mates or, you're out for a drink or whatever, or you're out for dinner and you just don't feel there. I wasn't present for a long, long time. So I felt really quite deeply anxious, and the only way I can describe it was it felt within me like friction. Like there was two parts of me rubbing up against each other that was causing me to feel this friction within me, which was anxiety. And I think what that was, when I look back, was that I was presenting this image to the outside world of this guy I'd shut down this company, but I was doing okay, I was doing great, I'd learned a lot from it, I've just got this cool new job in London, moved into a nice flat. But on the inside, that wasn't me. And it was like the real me was screaming to come out. And eventually that friction became panic attacks, and I started to have panic attacks pretty regularly. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, I'd have a panic attack, my heart would be pounding, sweating, out of breath. I would have them on the tube, and eventually I actually had a panic attack in a meeting. And it was extremely, extremely embarrassing because I'd not told anyone about how I was feeling, of course. I didn't really know how to, if I'm honest. I didn't know how to open up and even have that conversation. And trust me, people tried, and I just shut them down constantly, until I had this series of panic attacks. I'd like to think I'm a smart guy, like you can't really ignore that. And again, being a millennial, the first place I went to was my phone, and I Googled like what I was feeling. I Googled sweaty palms, palpitations, anxiety, and I hit search on Google and sort of find myself on, I don't know, it was either Reddit or NHS Choices website or Mind or whatever. And I see mental health, I see mental illness, I see depression, anxiety, suicides, generalized anxiety disorder. And basically it made me feel broken. It made me feel weak. It made me feel like I didn't have my shit together, like I was ill, like I was a patient, like I needed fixing, which did not make me feel very good. It made me feel worse, if I'm honest. And I was kind of at a loss. I was like, God, I don't want to feel like a charity case. Like I'm just a 26-year-old guy who's just shut down a business, who's going through a stressful period in his life. So again, I turned to the internet and I actually wrote this blog post called Mental Health in Startups, because that was kind of where I came from. And I just did it. I just hit publish on a post which bared all. I just thought, fuck it, you know what? I'm just going to be me for once. Like on social media, for once in my life, I'm going to be the real me. And I said it all: panic attacks, anxiety, stress, you name it. Everything I've just said to you now, I said in a blog post. And I hit publish, heart is bloody fluttering, sweaty palms more than ever. And for once in my life, I was authentic, I was honest, I was vulnerable, and I opened up. And as a result, that blog post got 15,000 views in like 2 days. And I got hundreds and hundreds of messages from across the world and all sorts of people. And I know I've only got 2 minutes left, but what that taught me was that mental health isn't just mental illness, for a start, and mental health isn't just something that some people have. Mental health, everybody has mental health. It's a spectrum. And as I started to open up and I started to treat my mental health as something that was completely normal, that was absolutely fine, that everybody has, I treated my mental health just like I treat my physical health. I realized that I was just on the spectrum of mental health where I was mentally kind of unwell for a bit. I started to open up. I started to try everything you can do: meditation, mindfulness, coaching, therapy, flotation tanks. And I started to treat my mental fitness like my physical fitness. And I started training muscles such as self-awareness, empathy, compassion, and authenticity. And I just started to just be me. And it was the best feeling in the world. And actually now, I now put my whole life into changing the entire perception of mental health. And with a brand called Sanctus, which is my business I'll talk about, and hopefully one day putting a mental health gym on the high street, because that for me will symbolize the day that we treat our mental health and our mental fitness as we do our physical fitness. And I'm done now. Oh God, my song. Right. So Nick asked me about my song, and I actually listen to this song every morning on the tube. It's not kind of deep and meaningful, but it kind of symbolizes the feeling of, fuck it, I'm just going to be me, and this is the kind of shit I like to listen to in the morning before work. So thank you all for listening, and I'm extremely embarrassed right now.